I guess it's only fair to start by introducing myself. My name is Jake, and I'm just your average guy in my early 30s. I work in it, love playing video games, and have generally led a pretty normal life. But my world turned upside down when I found out my wife, Rebecca, had been cheating on me. This isn't just a quick fling either. She had been unfaithful since our honeymoon, and the reality of that hit me like a freight train. Rebecca and I had been together for almost 6 years, married for 3. At first, everything seemed perfect. We shared interests, enjoyed our time together, and I thought we communicated well. But gradually, things started to shift. I noticed small changes in her behavior. She became distant, often glued to her phone, and canceled plans more frequently. Whenever I brought up my concerns, she'd laugh it off, convincing me I was paranoid, just a jealous husband. I began to doubt myself, questioning whether I was overreacting or if I truly was paranoid. To make matters worse, I had friends who would back her up. "Women are busy, Jake. You have to give her space," they'd say. I felt isolated, like I was the only one who sensed something was off. I'd catch Rebecca in little lies now and then, but each time she'd have an excuse ready. "I just lost track of time," or "You know how my work is, it gets hectic." I wanted to believe her, especially because deep down I loved her. I didn't want to be that guy who thought his wife was cheating without any proof. The turning point came a few weeks ago. I was working from home, which was usual for me, and I decided to take a quick break to grab a snack. As I walked past our bedroom, I noticed Rebecca's purse was wide open on the bed. My gut instinct told me to take a peek. I hesitated, knowing I'd be invading her privacy, but curiosity got the better of me. What I found changed everything. I spotted her journal peeking out from the side pocket of her purse. It wasn't anything I'd ever seen before. I knew she kept one, but I assumed it was filled with notes about her day or thoughts on work. I was wrong. I opened it, and what I saw made my heart race and froze me in place. Pages and pages of entries detailing her affairs, dates, names, even descriptions of the actual encounters. It was all there, laid out in black and white. The first entry was dated a week after our wedding. I couldn't believe it. It was all so calculated. She had written about meeting someone at a bar, how thrilling it was to feel desired. My hands shook as I flipped through the pages, reading about her escapades with various men over the years. Each entry was laced with a mix of excitement and emotional detachment. I felt nauseous, betrayed, and utterly heartbroken. It was almost surreal, like I was watching a bad movie unfold in front of me. I couldn't process it all at once. My mind was racing as I tried to comprehend the reality of what I had just discovered. I was caught in a whirlwind of emotions: anger, disbelief, devastation. How could she do this to me? How could she betray the vows we'd exchanged? The woman I loved, who I thought shared my values, had been living a double life. I needed to confront her, but I wanted to do it in a way that would expose the truth. I took a deep breath, trying to steady my pounding heart. I wanted to gather my thoughts before I confronted her, but the storm inside me was relentless. I was torn between wanting to scream at her and wanting to understand why she would do something so heinous. After all, we had built a life together. Did those moments mean nothing to her? It was time to face the music. I wanted the truth, no matter how painful it was going to be. I couldn't just sit on this. I needed to address it head on. As I waited for her to come home, I felt a mix of dread and determination. I knew this confrontation would change everything. When Rebecca walked through the door that evening, I was sitting at the kitchen table, the journal tucked away in my lap. The atmosphere felt heavy, almost electric, and I could sense that something was off. I took a moment to study her bright smile, the way she tossed her hair back, unaware of the storm brewing inside me. "Hey babe, how was your day?" she asked cheerfully, as if nothing were wrong. I could barely recognize that image of the woman I had fallen in love with, the one who had always shared everything with me. "Can we talk?" I replied, my voice steadier than I felt. I noticed a flicker of confusion cross her face, but she nodded, her smile fading slightly as she joined me at the table. I took a deep breath. "I found your journal today," I said, keeping my tone calm and controlled. I watched as her eyes widened, a mix of surprise and maybe fear dancing in them. "You know, the one you keep in your purse?" For a moment she froze, her mouth opening slightly as if she were about to say something but couldn't form the words. "Jake, I interrupted, holding up a hand. "Just let me finish. I read it, Rebecca. I read everything." The weight of those words hung in the air like a lead balloon. Her expression shifted quickly from shock to panic, and she tried to regain her composure. "How could you go through my things? That's such a violation of privacy," she exclaimed, her voice rising defensively. "Violating your privacy?" I echoed incredulously. "You've been violating our marriage vows since day one. You've been lying to me, cheating on me with who knows how many men, and I'm the one violating privacy." I could see the color drain from her face as the reality of my words sank in. She opened her mouth to respond, but the words didn't come. Instead, she shifted in her chair, avoiding my gaze, and I could feel the tension crackling between us. "Look, I know it sounds bad, but they were just flings. I was just trying to find myself," she attempted to explain, her tone pleading. "You were so focused on your work, I thought you didn't care about me anymore. Trying to find yourself," I repeated, stunned. "By sleeping with other men, that's your idea of self-discovery. You were too busy lying to me to even try to communicate how you felt." Each word dripped with a bitterness I didn't know I had in me. Rebecca's eyes filled with tears, and she leaned forward, her voice dropping to a whisper. "I'm sorry, Jake. I don't even know how it got to this point. I didn't mean to hurt you, but you did hurt me, Rebecca," I said sharply, feeling my anger bubble up. "You hurt me with every lie, every secret rendezvous. You had a choice, and you chose betrayal." She started to sob, and for a fleeting moment I felt a twinge of sympathy, but that sympathy was quickly eclipsed by the weight of betrayal. "I thought we had something special. I thought you were different," I continued, my voice carrying the pain of shattered trust. "I know, and I'm so sorry," she said through her tears. "I let my insecurities take over. I thought I needed validation from others. I didn't mean for it to snowball like this." I shook my head, feeling lost in the chaos of emotions swirling inside me. "No more excuses, Rebecca. No more lies. You've made your choice every single time you slipped into someone else's bed. This isn't about your insecurities, it's about your blatant disregard for our marriage." The silence that followed was deafening, punctuated only by Rebecca's quiet sobs. I wanted to shout, to let out the anger that had been building inside me, but I also realized I needed to gather my thoughts and decide what to do next. "Tell me the truth, Rebecca," I demanded, my voice low but firm. "How many men, how long has this been going on? I deserve to know." She hesitated, her face contorting in shame. "It was just a few, maybe 4 or 5 over the years. I'm so ashamed, Jake. I didn't want to hurt you. They were just moments of weakness." "Moments of weakness," I repeated, my disbelief palpable. "You didn't just make a mistake, you broke our vows. You crushed the very foundation of what we built together. How can I trust you again?" At that moment, I felt my heart shatter a little more with each word I spoke. It was clear that whatever we had was tainted, and I wasn't sure if I could ever look at her the same way again. She looked up at me, desperation in her eyes. "Please, Jake, don't leave me. I'll do anything to make this right. I want to fix this." But how could I trust her again? How could I believe a word she said? As I sat there, feeling the weight of her pleas, I realized that the road ahead would be long and painful, no matter what decision I made. The confrontation hung in the air like a dense fog, and I felt suffocated by the weight of Rebecca's tears and my own confusion. She sat there looking at me, pleading with those big, tear-filled eyes, and I couldn't help but feel a swirl of emotions. Anger, betrayal, sadness, they all battled for dominance within me. "Please, Jake, just give me a chance to explain," she said, her voice trembling. Each word felt like a plea for mercy, but I wasn't sure how much mercy I had left to give. "And what do you think that explanation is going to accomplish?" I shot back, my patience wearing thin. "You've been unfaithful from the very start. It's not just a mistake, it's a pattern. You've shown me time and time again that you don't respect our marriage." Her face fell at my words, and I could see the fight leaving her as she slumped back in her chair. I know I messed up, but I want to change. I love you, Jake. I don't want to lose you. I don't even know if I can love you right now," I admitted. The honesty felt like a knife twisting in my gut. I was angry at her, but I was equally angry with myself for the years I'd wasted believing we were happy, believing that I was enough. "How do I know this isn't just another lie? You've already betrayed that trust so many times." Because I want to go to counseling. I'll do whatever it takes to fix this, she implored, desperation lacing her words. I'm willing to be honest, to open up. You deserve that, and I want to be the wife you thought you married. I scoffed at her words, thinking back to the promises we made on our wedding day. You think therapy is going to erase the years of deceit. You think some counseling sessions will make this all go away. I'm not asking for it to go away. I'm asking for a chance to make it right, she countered, her voice rising again. I've been selfish and stupid, but I want to change. I'm willing to do the work. Her arguments felt like a double-edged sword. A part of me wanted to believe her. I wanted the fairy tale ending where we could just brush this under the rug and make it work. But another part of me screamed that I was being a fool to even entertain the thought. Do you even understand the depth of what you've done? I asked, wanting to see if she grasped the extent of her betrayal. You've shared your body, your intimacy, with other men while promising it was only mine. You've taken a piece of me with every single one of those affairs. Rebecca's sobs filled the room, and I felt a twinge of guilt for laying it all out there so harshly. But I couldn't let myself soften. Not now. Not when I was standing on the precipice of a decision that could alter the course of my life. I know, and I'm so sorry, she said again, her voice breaking. I want to show you that I can be better. I will prove it to you. Just don't walk away. The thought of walking away felt like a weight pressing down on my chest. I had invested so much time and energy into this relationship. Could I really just throw it all away? And yet, could I ever trust her again? My mind raced as I tried to weigh my options. Why should I believe you? I pressed, my tone still sharp. What's changed? You've been lying to me for years. Because I'm scared, Jake, scared of losing you, she admitted, her voice barely a whisper now. I've never felt this way before. You're my everything. Was that true? Did she really mean it? Or was it just a last-ditch effort to keep me from walking out the door? The uncertainty left me reeling. Part of me wanted to give her another chance. I wanted to believe that our love could withstand this. But the other part of me, a part that had felt the sting of betrayal, was horrified at the prospect of forgiving. I needed time to think. I couldn't handle this tornado of emotions all at once. I need space, I finally said, feeling the words hang heavy between us. I need to figure out what I want. Rebecca looked crushed, but I couldn't focus on her pain at that moment. I had to grapple with my own feelings. I stood up, packing the small kitchen, my mind spinning. I can't just pretend this didn't happen. I can't just sweep it under the rug. I understand, she said quietly, her voice barely audible now. I'll give you space, but please don't take too long, Jake. I'm begging you. The room felt painfully silent as I tried to process everything. After a few moments, I left the kitchen and went to our bedroom, shutting the door behind me. I needed to be alone, to gather my thoughts away from the emotional chaos that had just exploded in our kitchen. As I sat on the edge of the bed, I stared at the wall, feeling the weight of my choices bearing down on me. This wasn't just about Rebecca's infidelity. It was about me, my self-worth, my trust, and the future I had envisioned. I thought about my friends, my family, and how I would explain all of this. The tears came unbidden as I grappled with the reality that the woman I loved had shattered our life together. I loved her, but could I really stay? Would I always wonder who she was? While I was at work, the emotional toll was suffocating. I ended the evening in turmoil, my heart heavy with the knowledge that our lives would never be the same again. I had to decide if I could forgive her, if I could rebuild our marriage from the ashes she had left behind. But right now, all I felt was confusion, anger, and an overwhelming sense of loss. The next few days felt like a surreal haze. I went through the motions of my daily life but felt like I was moving through a dream, or rather, a nightmare. Work was a distraction, but even there I found it hard to focus. My colleagues noticed my distant demeanor, but I brushed off their concerns with half-hearted excuses about being tired or stressed. Inside, I was a storm, churning with conflicting emotions that left me exhausted. Rebecca had given me the space I asked for, but it was a haunting silence that enveloped our home. We passed each other like shadows, unable to bridge the chasm that had opened between us. I found myself avoiding looking at her, afraid that if I did, I'd be pulled back into the emotional spiral. I was trying to escape. I spent my evenings alone, often staring at the television without really watching it. My mind was a whirlwind of memories, the laughter, the love we had shared, the dreams we'd built together, all tainted now by the journal I had found. I couldn't shake the feeling of betrayal, and every time I closed my eyes, I replayed her confessions in my mind like a broken record. One night I found myself scrolling through my phone, aimlessly flipping through social media, seeking some semblance of normality. I came across a post from one of my friends, showcasing a happy couple celebrating their anniversary. A pang of envy shot through me. It wasn't just envy, it was a deep-rooted sadness for what I had lost. I thought we were that couple once. I thought we had everything figured out. I eventually fell into a restless sleep, but dreams eluded me. Instead, I was haunted by images of Rebecca with other men, their laughter, their intimacy, the way she had shared herself with them while I was blissfully unaware. I woke up in the middle of the night, drenched in sweat, clutching the sheets like they were a lifeline. I knew I had to make a decision. I couldn't live in this limbo forever, but the thought of confronting Rebecca again felt overwhelming. What would I say? Would I give her another chance? Could I trust her again? On the fourth day of silence, I finally found the courage to talk to her. I called her into the living room, my heart racing as I paced back and forth, trying to gather my thoughts. She entered, her expression a mix of hope and fear. "Jake," she said softly, "I've been waiting for you to talk to me. I miss you. I miss you too, but I need to be honest about what I'm feeling." I began, searching for the right words. "I've been thinking about everything you said. I know you want to change, but I can't ignore the hurt, Rebecca. I can't just pretend everything is okay." "I understand," she replied, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. "I've been doing a lot of thinking too. I know I messed up, but I want to prove to you that I can be better. That's just it. I want to believe you, but how? You've lied to me for years. How can I trust you again?" The frustration seeped into my voice and I felt the knot in my stomach tight. "Trust is earned, I know that," she admitted, her voice steadying as she spoke. "I'll do whatever it takes. I'll be transparent. I'll let you see my phone, my messages, whatever you need. I want to show you I can be the partner you deserve. Even if you want to change, I can't ignore the past," I replied, the weight of my words heavy. "I can't help but wonder if every time you tell me you love me, it's just another lie." Tears rolled down her cheeks as she reached out to take my hand, but I pulled away, needing space to breathe. "I'm scared, Jake. I don't want to lose you. I love you. I love you too," I said, my voice cracking as I felt my own tears threatening to spill. "But love isn't enough. I need to know that you understand the depth of your betrayal. I need to know that you're truly committed to changing." "I am, I swear," she cried, her voice rising in desperation. "Let's go to counseling together. I'll do anything, just please don't give up on us." Her words tugged at my heartstrings and I could see the sincerity in her eyes. But could I really take that leap of faith? Could I allow myself to believe she could change? "I don't know, Rebecca," I said, my voice trembling. "I don't know if I can trust you. I don't know if I can forgive you." The silence hung heavy between us and I could see the walls closing in on her as the reality of my hesitance sank in. "What if we start slow?" she suggested, her voice softening. "Let's take it one day at a time. I'll show you that I can be the wife you deserve. Just give me a chance." The thought of starting over was terrifying, yet there was a flicker of hope deep within me. I wanted to believe in the possibility of healing, but I also felt crippling fear. What if I took that chance and ended up getting hurt again? "I need to think about it." I finally managed, feeling both relief and dread wash over me. "I can't promise anything right now." Rebecca nodded, her expression a blend of understanding and heartbreak. "I get it. I'll give you the time you need." As she walked away, I felt the weight of the decision I had yet to make settle heavily on my shoulders. I wanted to believe in her transformation. I wanted to believe we could salvage what remained of our marriage. But the path ahead was fraught with uncertainty, and all I could do was navigate it one moment at a time. The days turned into weeks, each one marked by a mixture of hope and doubt. I couldn't shake the feeling that I was living in a delicate glass house, where the slightest disturbance could shatter everything. Rebecca and I had both committed to a path of healing, but I felt like I was walking a tightrope, teetering between wanting to give her another chance and fearing the potential for more heartbreak. We decided to start couples counseling. a step that felt monumental yet terrifying. The therapist, Dr. Sullivan, was kind but firm, guiding us through the tangled web of emotions we both felt. I appreciated that she created a safe space for both of us to express ourselves, but the sessions often left me feeling raw and exposed. Rebecca was open during our sessions, detailing her feelings of inadequacy and her misguided need for validation. I listened, trying to be empathetic, but part of me still felt like the wounded animal, cautious and wary. Hearing her explain her actions made me realize how deeply her insecurities ran, yet I struggled to reconcile that with the betrayal I had felt. Jake, Dr. Sullivan said one session, "How do you feel when Rebecca shares her thoughts? Do you find it easy to connect with her feelings?" I looked at the therapist, then to Rebecca, whose eyes were filled with a mix of hope and fear. "It's hard," I admitted, my voice laced with uncertainty. "I want to understand her, but the hurt feels so fresh. Every time I hear her talk about her feelings, I'm still reminded of the lies and the betrayal." "It's okay to feel that way," Dr. Sullivan encouraged. "Healing takes time, Jake. You need to give yourself permission to feel the hurt while also reevaluating the connection you once had." As much as I wanted to believe that, I found myself questioning everything. Was there a way to rebuild what we had? I had spent years loving Rebecca. Could I really throw all that away? One evening after counseling, I came home feeling emotionally drained. Rebecca was waiting for me in the living room, an anxious look in her eyes. "How did it go?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "It was intense," I replied, running a hand through my hair. "I'm trying, but it's hard to separate my feelings of pain from my love for you." She reached out for my hand, and I hesitated for a moment before allowing her to take it. "I just want you to know that I'm committed to this, Jake. I'm willing to do anything to earn your trust back." I nodded, appreciating her resolve but still feeling that nagging doubt in the pit of my stomach. "I want to believe you, but trust is hard to rebuild. I can't just forget what you did." "I know, and I don't expect you to," she said earnestly. "But I promise to be open and honest with you. From now on, I'll show you that I can be different, that I can be the person you thought I was." As the weeks passed, I tried to focus on the small victories. Rebecca was making an effort. She was more present in our conversations and was trying to include me in her life again. She would leave her phone unlocked and visible, a gesture that felt both reassuring and strange. Yet, even with these efforts, I couldn't shake the feeling of mistrust that lingered in the back of my mind. One evening, while doing laundry, I stumbled upon a couple of Rebecca's old photos tucked away in a drawer. They were pictures from our trips, happy memories captured in time, moments before the betrayal. I felt a pang of nostalgia mixed with resentment. Could I ever go back to that place of happiness? Or did those moments hold too much pain now? That night, I decided to confront her about the photos. We sat in the living room, the atmosphere thick with unspoken tensions. "I found these," I said, holding up the photos as I spoke. "They reminded me of what we once had, but they also made me question if we can ever get back there. Can I trust that those moments weren't tainted by your affairs?" Rebecca's expression shifted, a mix of sadness and understanding etched across her face. "I'm sorry, Jake. I can see how hard this is for you, but I promise you that I'm committed to making things right. I don't want to lose what we have." I looked at her, searching for sincerity in her eyes. "I want to believe you," I admitted, my voice cracking. "But how do we move forward? Can we ever truly heal?" "We take it one day at a time," she replied, her voice warm and comforting. "I'm here for you. I'll be transparent about everything. Just please don't give up on us, not yet." As I stared into her hopeful eyes, I felt a flicker of something I hadn't sensed in a while: hope. It was fragile, but it was there. I thought about the path we had walked so far, how difficult it had been, and how far we still had to go. But maybe there was a chance for us, however slim. I took a deep breath, feeling the weight of my decision press upon me. "Okay, let's try. Let's work on this together, but I need you to promise me that you'll be open and honest from here on out. No more lies, no more secrets. If we're going to build something new, we have to start from a place of trust." "Absolutely. I promise," she said, her voice filled with conviction. As we sat together, a sense of possibility flickered between us, and for the first time in weeks I felt a glimmer of hope. It wouldn't be easy and there would be hurdles ahead, but maybe we could navigate this storm together. Maybe our love could withstand the test of betrayal, but only time would tell if we could truly heal together. As the days turned into weeks, we settled into a somewhat uneasy rhythm. The road to healing was not linear. It was filled with ups and downs, moments of clarity and bouts of doubt. I found myself constantly evaluating our relationship, questioning whether it was worth the effort or if I was just setting myself up for more heartache down the line. Counseling sessions became a regular part of our lives, and while they were emotionally exhausting, they also offered a space for us to confront the raw truths of our situation. I learned to express my feelings without the fear of being dismissed, while Rebecca worked on addressing her insecurities and the underlying issues that fueled her infidelity. One afternoon, nearly 2 months after our initial confrontation, I found myself sitting at the kitchen table with a steaming cup of coffee, reflecting on the progress we had made. I glanced at Rebecca, who was busy organizing some paperwork for her job. There was a peacefulness about her that I hadn't noticed in a long time. It made me wonder if we were moving in the right direction or if it was just an illusion. "Hey," I said, breaking the silence. "Can we talk?" She looked up, a tentative smile spreading across her face. "Of course. What's on your mind?" "I've been thinking about where we stand," I began, feeling the weight of my words. "I know things aren't perfect, but I feel like we're both trying. I appreciate the effort you've made." "Thank you, Jake. It really means a lot to hear you say that." She replied, her voice sincere. "I know I've made mistakes, but I want to make things right. I'm committed to rebuilding what we had." I nodded, feeling a mixture of hope and caution. "I think we're making progress, but I still struggle with trusting you completely. It's hard to shake the memories of the past." "I completely understand," she said, her expression earnest. "Trust is earned, and I'm here to prove that I can be trustworthy. I want to show you that I'm dedicated to our marriage." "I love you, Jake." "I love you too," I replied, feeling a warmth in my chest. "But love isn't enough without trust. I need to see action, not just words." Her eyes glistened with determination. "I promise to be transparent with you. I'll let you in on everything. I want to share my life with you again, and I'll work hard to rebuild that trust." Just then, she reached for my hand, and for the first time in what felt like an eternity, I didn't pull away. I allowed her to hold my hand, feeling the warmth and comfort in her touch. It was a small step, but it felt significant. As weeks turned into months, we continued to navigate the complexities of our relationship. There were still difficult conversations, moments of vulnerability where I would bring up my hurt, but we were learning to communicate more openly. I became more comfortable expressing my fears and insecurities, and Rebecca was learning to listen without becoming defensive. One evening, after a particularly productive counseling session, we decided to go out for dinner, a sort of celebration for our progress. We chose a cozy little Italian restaurant that we used to visit when we first started dating. As we sat across from each other, the ambience warm and inviting, I felt a sense of nostalgia wash over me. "Do you remember our first date here?" Rebecca asked, a smile dancing on her lips. "Of course," I replied, chuckling softly. "You were so nervous you could barely eat your pasta." I thought you were so out of my league," she admitted, a lightness in her voice. "But we had such a great time, didn't we?" "Yeah, we did," I said, feeling the warmth of those memories. "It's nice to feel a spark again, like we're getting back to that place." As we shared stories and laughter, I felt a growing sense of connection. The shadows of the past still lingered, but they no longer overshadowed our present. I realized that while the scars were there, they didn't have to define our relationship. We were building something new, brick by brick, and it felt like a testament to our resilience. Later that night, as we walked home hand in hand, I felt lighter. The journey had been long and painful, but I could see a glimmer of hope ahead. I began to believe that healing was possible, that we could emerge from the darkness stronger than before. As we reached our front door, I turned to Rebecca, looking into her eyes. "Whatever comes next, I'm willing to face it with you," I said, my heart full. "I believe in us." Her eyes shone with tears of gratitude. "Me too, Jake. Thank you for not giving up on me. I promise to work hard to earn back your trust." With that, we stepped inside, ready to face the challenges of the future together. It wouldn't be easy, but I felt a renewed sense of purpose. The journey ahead would require patience and effort, but for the first time in a long time, I felt hopeful about the possibilities that lay before us. We were on the path to recovery, and together we could find our way back to love.